Hello and welcome to Sunday Sermon on Hughes the World. I'm Graham Hughes. How you all doing this morning? US is weird, Simon says, lost missionary. Morning all. In a country where most workers don't get sick pay, how much is Mitch McConnell still being paid even though he's, halfway to the exit? I think he's dead. Like the deadline's tomorrow for, if he dies tomorrow, then there can't be a special election. So he's going to die. He's going to die tomorrow, be announced on Tuesday. But there can't be a special election before the midterms, you see, which could create a bit of a curveball for Republicans in Kentucky, where they do have a, pardon me, they do have a Democratic governor. Amazingly, for Kentucky. Hello in the chat. We've got Martin, we've got Diz, we've got War and Peace, we've got David as well, and others, and Steve's. If you'd like to join our friends in the friendly chat, just hit the friendly subscribe button and wait for approximately 1 minute and be able to join in. Right, today we're going to be talking about the fact that Trump's goose should be well and truly cooked, but absolutely, resolutely isn't. And this is driven by the fact that I keep seeing these idiotic video titles. I don't think the people in the videos are idiotic, and I don't think the people who are watching these videos are idiots at all. I mean, you know, copium is one hell of a drug, and we all want Trump to be defeated or worse, and that would be fab. You know, I don't think that anyone would have a huge problem with that. But what the reality is, on the ground reality, is that there's no way he is finished. There's no way he is leaving the White House in anything other than a box. That is it. And I'm gonna map out this morning exactly why that is. I'm a bit weirded out because I can normally have a goal set, a confetti goal set on my chat. It's not letting me do that this morning. Don't know why it's not letting me do that. That's not good, is it? If you give me 5 super chats, I will release the confetti. Okay, it might not happen in the chat because I can't set the goal this morning, but I will release it. But yeah, so let's have a look at some of the things, right? 2 Americans shot dead by federal agents early this year. The disastrous Iran war. Petrol prices driven above $4. And a question I want to ask at every point, at every juncture here is, would a Democrat president get away with this shit? The answer is no. 18 American soldiers have been killed. No clear objective or exit strategy for the situation in Iran. Broken promises to end foreign wars, tariffs, raising prices for Americans across the board, economic approval for Trump is below 40%. This would be the death knell of any other president. In fact, it wouldn't even have to be a Democrat president. It could be a Republican president. This would be the end of them, right? One way or another, there will be a lame duck seeing out the rest of the days. It's not going to happen with Trump. His overall approval is in the 30s. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he's got the approval of the billionaires, and they're the only people you need the approval for. And I'll really get into that later on in the show. The cost of living crisis going on in America? You know, people are just wallowing in their own filth or opulence. And there's no real big movement to dislodge Trump or to even strip him of any of the powers that he wields, like a 16th century absolutist divine right monarch of a European nation. The assault on democratic institutions, the lawfare, the weaponization of the Justice Department, masked immigration agents, many of them immigrants themselves, on American streets, killing American citizens, attacks on birthright citizenship, attempts to restrict postal voting, which old fogies rely on to be able to vote. Other people other than old fogies, but in particular old fogies rely on that. Mass deportations, family separations, government by billionaire donors, giving Elon Musk access to the government to shred funding, to shred departments. Department of Education has gone. The national parks have lost all their, pretty much all of their funding. They're falling apart. the corruption, the conflicts of interest, the 2.2 billion Trump's known to have made in his first year in power, the Fanny Infantino's fucking World Cup and political civility, the peace prize that Trump won. Do you know, like all of these people got so upset about Obama winning the actual peace prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, but Trump gets his mate to invent a peace prize to give to Trump. And his mates are like, yeah, that's all right. The destruction of the reflecting pool, the shambolic America 250 celebrations. I want to talk about that, like how the Democrats didn't, or the opposition to Trump, let's call it, didn't make the most out of that. I have no fucking clue. That'd have been me. If I had a bit of money to put together, I would have made sure that we had 1 million people turn up at that bloody States Fair thing. Yeah, I'd have 1 million people turn up to that. And I've organised it so we have a drone, we have a nice little picture in the background of Fox News and the other things that were, where everyone holds up a bit of a picture and it forms the face of Rene Good saying Trump killed this American. Trump kills Americans. That's it. That's your message out there. Perfect place for it. It's a big empty field. Nobody turned up for the 250 celebrations. So you turn up and you fucking hijack them. Oh, we see he's got to arrest an Olympic athlete for touching the fucking reflecting water. Well, get in the reflecting water then. Oh no, might get me feet a bit wet. Fuck that shit. It's only a fucking foot deep. Get in the reflecting pool. Get all of yous, get in the fucking pool. Trump's already fucked it. It's fine. No, I'm gonna get me feet wet. And this is why Trump's gonna stay in power till the day he fucking dies. There's no opposition. No opposition. Trump said he could shoot someone in Fifth Avenue in the face. And he's done that. He's shot 2 people. He shot a young woman, he shot a young man. Americans. Not Mexicans, swimming across the Rio Grande. No. Americans shot dead by Trump's stormtroopers. And Americans are like, oh. The politicization of American national institutions, the attack on journalists, attacks on universities, judges, the abandonment of Ukraine, the undermining of NATO, the support for authoritarian leaders around the world. Normally, America's the country going, hey, this authoritarian leader, isn't that great? Well, secretly doing deals with said authoritarian leader. I mean, come on, we live in the real world here. But at the same time, they didn't make it public. They weren't like, yeah, Saddam Hussein, yay, Pol Pot, yay, woo, Robert Mugabe, we think they're great. Trump is. The pardoning of political allies, the pardoning of 1,500 people who smashed the faces in of cops on January the 6th. In fact, the January 6th revisionism, the open talk of a third term, which is going to happen. It is absolutely going to happen. We can have a discussion about the Constitution riding in on a white horse to save the day, but there's so many ways. There's so many ways that Trump can win. We'll become president again after 2028. There's so many ways. We'll go through them. We'll go through some of them. The Trump 2028 merchandise, a presidency built around personal revenge, as we saw with Anthony Fauci being dragged before the Senate, before the Congress this week, where he pled to take the fifth on what day it was and what colour tie he was wearing because he wasn't going to answer any questions. The worst witch hunt we have seen in American politics since the McCarthy era. Absolutely ridiculous. This guy saved millions of Americans' lives while Trump was telling people to fucking shine sunshine up their arse and to ingest bleach. This was a guy who was in charge of making sure that not too many Americans died. I mean, they were happy for 500,000 Americans to die, but now they've got a revision thing going, no, that didn't happen. All those Americans that were on incubators and fucking choked in fluid in their lungs, they didn't really die. I got a mate of mine, he was in an incubator, he was in an ICU on a respirator. Sorry, not an incubator. Incubators for kids, babies and eggs. No, respirators. A mate of mine was in intensive care for weeks with COVID. Weeks, nearly died. But, it's not real. The fact that all the other countries in the world also suffered from COVID, it was a big conspiracy between all of the countries in the world, no matter who their politics were, they were right-wing or left-wing or, whatever. And the countries that responded the worst suffered the biggest death tolls: the United Kingdom, Brazil, USA. Meanwhile, a country like New Zealand had a death toll of about seven. Seven. I mean, Trump he runs a government that is visibly unfit for office, and I would make the argument that absolutely nobody else, right? Nobody else would survive as a president, having done all the shit that he's done. You know, Trump should be politically finished. He should have been politically finished 10 years ago when he made fun of that journalist on the election campaign trail of 2016. He should have it should have been over when the tape came out where he bragged about sexually assaulting women. That should have been it. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. And it won't be. And people have got to stop kidding themselves that it's going to be. You know? Democrats have failed to turn his failures into a sustained movement. Anti-Trump media keeps declaring victory while Republicans retain the money, the power, the machinery of government, the structural advantage. 2 Americans shot dead. You know, the administration's version of events completely blown out the water by the actual video evidence of what happened, and the outrage faded rather than becoming a defining national campaign. It's just like, oh yeah, well, you know, unbelievable. I don't think that would have happened in the UK. I really don't. Remember was it Mark Duggan who got killed in 2011 by the cops? And this kid was he probably he absolutely did not deserve to be shot. I don't believe anyone deserves to be shot. I mean, but he was, right? And there were riots all over the UK. I know a lot of people were jumping on the bandwagon on that, but there were riots all over the UK, which were fucking crazy in the summer of 2011. America. It's the summer now. What's happening? Nothing. People just going to work, going to Arby's and eating this fucking steamed fucking hamburger things. They're literally hamburgers with ham in, like slices of ham, like sweaty ham in a hamburger. It's a weird thing they have in America called Arby's. They don't have it over here, thank God. Colin Baker said Jacinda Ardern lost her job because of strict policies on COVID. Trump came back, shrug. Yeah. People don't care about death as long as they're not mildly inconvenienced themselves. The Ellisonization of the American news media via Paramount's Skydance and censorship across the board, says Simon Smith. Yep. Warren P says, in the US, other than the president dying in office, the only other way to get rid of the 25th Amendment, a sitting president can't be voted out of office. Yep. But the idea is that he would lose all of his political support in the legislature, in Congress, in the midterms. He's not going to. You know. But like, you know, where are these protests? You know, large demonstrations happen, then just sort of disappeared. There's no permanent mobilization outside Congress, ICE facilities, Republican offices. There's no sustained boycott campaign for the billionaires giving Trump the money and giving him the power. There's no strike movement. There's no coordinated pressure on Trump's backers. There's nothing. Anger's being channeled into clips that go viral online rather than actual fucking political organisation. They get actors go up and make a speech about how shit things are. Well done, thank you. And when I say people just in America just don't have the balls to do what needs to be done, I'm not talking about political violence. I'm talking about what needs to be done in terms of organisation, organising the anti-Trump sentiment. You're telling me that he's at the lowest fucking polling ever, which is 37%, lowest ever. Okay, cool. You're going to capitalise on the fact that, 60% of the country hate him. You're going to capitalise on now. Trump promised cheaper fuel and fewer foreign wars. And not only has he started the war, but he's also pushed the price of fuel up. Democrats should be connecting every increase at the pump directly to Trump. There should be a nationwide movement to stick stickers on every single petrol pump, gasoline pump in America with Trump's pointing at the price saying, I did that. Come on, just stick it on. The simple message is being complicated by this kind of, I don't know, fucking commentary and, this idea that you can't just say things as they are for some reason. You can't. You've got to give the Democrats and the Labour and the left do the same thing over here. Yeah, they go, oh, we've got to listen to both sides. We've got to listen. If you make an argument, if I make an argument that Trump's a twat, I've got to counter that and say, well, he might not be a twat. No, I don't need to do that. I don't need to tone it down. I don't need to give both sides. I just need to say Trump is a twat. Never underestimate the Democrat establishment's ability to fuck up, says Farsight. I honestly think, low-key think they'll do it on purpose sometimes because they're more like controlled opposition. I mean, they're a right-wing party. There's no party of the left in America. But, most Americans are just so demoralized. They think fuck all will change. So they just roll over and play dead. Yeah. Farsight said, I mean, think about it. They started out as a slave-supporting conservative Southern party, and that party elite never really lost control of the party. I would argue that because it's the money. It's the money that matters. Starting my list for Santa, Trump in prison, riddled with syphilis, suffering until that wonderful day. I worry for my liver. Father, there's never been a viable left in the US. Yeah, and for reasons which I'm going to come to in a moment. But I want to just mention the World Cup. The World Cup. I mean, what a fiasco that was. Trump tried to interfere in the World Cup. The reflecting pool. Like they damage one of Washington's most recognizable public spaces. The White House. He's demolished half the White House. He had a UFC competition on the White House. If Obama had got a bunch of school kids to come to the White House and form a circle, sit down and hold hands and sing Kumbaya, the right-wing press would be going nuts about the damage to the lawn. Have you seen the lawn outside the White House? It's fucked. It's absolutely fucked. And that celebration, the whole celebration for America 250, that would have finished any other president, any of them. Any of the other 44 presidents of the United States would have been absolutely fucking smashed by that. George Washington would have been smashed by that. His approval rating would have gone down to 1%. Expensive, badly staged, widely mocked. It was just ridiculous. It was a month ago. Can you remember it? I know the news cycle moves on, but it was fucking insane. Trump decided to make it a celebration about himself. The Democrats are treating it like an embarrassing news cycle rather than a broader argument about national decline under Trump. They just failed. They should have fucking hijacked it. That's what I would have done. Are you going to make it about yourself, are you? We're going to fucking hijack this. And yeah, we will make it about you and how shit you are. That's what I would have done. What do I know? I'm a fucking gob on a stick on the fucking internet. Can't even set up a super chat goal anymore. Bit upset about that. Why can't I set up a Google? Couldn't do a show on Friday. Sorry, from Kendall calling because couldn't get any fucking signal on my phone. Jesus Christ, it's an absolute nightmare for signal. It was just a signal black hole. Luckily, if you go to Tim Peake's Diner, Tim Burgess, got to meet Tim Burgess. That was nice. If you go to Tim Peake's Diner, he kindly gives free internet to anyone who gets a coffee. Well, anyone who goes in the place, you don't even have to get a coffee. A few little secret gigs in there. That was fun. Saw Ash doing a cover of "Where Is My Mind" by the Pixies. That was really fun. If only the Dems would fight Republicans the way they fight progressives, the Dems would never lose an election. Meanwhile, over half of Dem representatives seem low-key, wish they were Republicans. Yeah. Well, they are. They are to a certain extent. Like, the right wing. They're not there for the people. But yeah, democratic failure from top to bottom. And it reminds me a little bit about the failure of Labour in 2017, 2019, where okay, they were at least coalesced around a single leader. But there was no single national message. It was a fucking mess. It was an absolute fucking mess. The message was, we're not the Tories. That was the message. There's no discipline back then in Labour, and there's no discipline in the Democrat Party at the moment. They're all doing whatever they want, There's there's no obvious leader of the opposition. There's just far too much dependence on journalists, on courts, on online creators to do the political work, and that was a failure of Keir Starmer. He left Phil Morehouse to explain everything on his channel. Do you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't going to explain why he was doing anything. You just turned up and said, we're doing this. Why are you doing that? I don't know. You tell me. And the fear of being called radical prevents any kind of forceful opposition, and the internal arguments repeatedly overwhelm any kind of attacks on Trump. They're all fighting amongst themselves. And then this week, I don't know if you saw it, there was an interview with a woman called Megan Romer, who is the co-chair of the Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA, right? Heavily linked, obviously, with Mondami, who's doing well, and AOC, who's doing well, and these young and upcoming Dems on the left who are fighting an internal battle of the old guard, the boomers in the Democrat Party who still think that it's business as usual. It's not. It's not business as usual, right? So this woman goes on Fox fucking News, like a fucking dickhead, and she does this ready-made attack advert for the Republican Party. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, are you absolutely kidding me here? She said that in 30 seconds, right, she said that they should abolish the Senate, abolish the presidency, abolish the Supreme Court, abolish ICE, abolish borders, and abolish prisons. I mean, I just can't. The fucking stupid. It's burning me. It's burning me. I don't want Trump to be president. But with friends like this, who needs fucking Trump? You got to get away with borders. You got to get away with prisons and borders. Two things Americans really seem to like. Yeah, why didn't you you gotta just like bag up everyone's fucking puppy and throw them in the fucking canal while you're at it? You fucking idiot. In the run up to the midterm elections, this socialist goes on, so-called socialist, goes on Fox News, the most right-wing, rabid fucking channel in America, right? And she goes, do you know what socialism is? It's getting rid of the prisons and the borders. No, it's fucking not. You fucking clown. What are you doing going on TV saying that shit? What the fuck? At this time? With this president? Oh, do you know what? It'd be boss if we got rid of all the prisons and all the borders. Did you have time for nuance? She built this all out. It was a quick fire question and answer round. She said all this in 30 seconds. No time for nuance. No time for like explaining what is meant by all this. Dreaming of a world where there is no borders. Yeah, fucking great. John Lennon sang about it fucking 50 years ago. What good did it? Did him nothing. He got him fucking shot. Fucking lovely to have your dreams. Lovely to have your dreams, knobhead. But don't go on fucking TV and make socialism, which is already a dirty word in so many places in America, make it sound even worse. We're going to go around eating all the babies while we're at it. When you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And now competitive Democrats who are running in the midterms are having to deny positions that they never supported. And Republicans understand how to weaponize one damaging interview across hundreds of races across America. I mean, as in democratic races. I don't mean as in human races. They're going to be farming that out. Every place in America that is having an election in the midterms in November are going to be trotting out that clip of her saying that. Look, this is what you're voting for if you vote Democrat. I mean, just do you want to give Trump he's already got the fucking codes for the nuclear weapons. I mean, what more does he need? Truth is, a lot of Dems would rather see a Republican government than any sort of leftist one. I think the leftists would rather see the fucking Republicans than any kind of leftist one with some idiot going on fucking Fox News of all channels. He could I wouldn't be happy about it, but he's gone on some fucking podcast that no one watches and gone, yeah, this is the future I dream of, and then that's whole discussion about it. But no, it was just a yes/no round. Fucking who was saying this? It was the co-chair of the Democratic Socialists of America, a woman called Megan Romer. I mean, it just honestly beggars belief that anyone could be so fucking thick as to say something as ridiculous as that. I could probably look it up, but it'll ruin the flow of the show. Modern parties have forgotten that you actually have to give people hope, a vision for a future to vote on. Yeah. But saying I'm going to get rid of prisons without explaining what you're going to do to replace them is not the way to give people hope. That just gives out terror. That woman went on and she just terrorized everyone who isn't, I don't know, a communist maybe? I don't know. She just terrified people with kids watching that, right-wing people watching that, Trump voters watching that going, oh, she's going to let all the prisoners out and they're going to come and kill and rape us. Americans are fucking they are the most paranoid people on the planet as is. That's why every one of them needs a gun, to be issued to them at birth because everyone's out to get them apparently, because they're so fucking special. Everyone thinks that everyone in America just thinks that they are the be-all and end-all, and everyone just wants to come and take their stuff from them. That's why Americans just freak out all the time if you suggest that they might have to give up a little bit of their property, a little bit of their property, their TV, or their old VCR recorder that hasn't worked since 1996. It's like someone came into my house and relieved me of that property. I'll kill them. I'll kill them with a gun because that's the sentence they deserve. I mean, fucking hell. What a gift. What a gift. Meanwhile, the GOP are laughing. The GOP, look, I have no delusions about the Republicans' situation at the moment. They're not doing well, all things being equal. And if things were equal in the midterms, they'll get their asses handed to them. And the Democrats will take control of the Senate and the House of Representatives. But that's not going to happen. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is now. I bet you that the Democrats do not take control of the House or the Senate after these midterm elections, right? And I'll tell you why. Republican gerrymandering, first of all. Now, gerrymandered states across America. So now that places that might have returned might return, say, 5 or 6 members of the House on the Democrat side. It's now going to there's not going to be one. There's not going to be one. If that, there might be 0 from an entire state. Not a single representative of the Democrats from particular states, like I don't know, Florida, Kentucky, fucking Georgia, wherever, right? Gerrymandering. Voter ID restrictions and registration barriers disproportionately damaging Democrat turnout. There's going to be ICE outside the voting booths, intimidating people with their big fucking guns. Why would you go and vote if you might die? Oh, it's not worth dying for, is it? What's the point anyway? Because even if you vote for the Democrats and the Democrats win by a fucking mile, they're not going to be allowed to take their seats. Trump would rather have a mob of his storm Parliament again and murder everyone in there than give up those seats in the Senate, in the House of Representatives. There is literally no way that the Democrats can possibly win in the midterms. Even if they do win, as in they get more votes, doesn't matter. Trump's in control. Trump's in control of law enforcement. He's in charge of the judiciary. He's in charge of what happens in America. And he will not allow these things to go ahead. And people will say, like they always say about Trump, he can't do that. Oh, he just did. Meanwhile, where are the protests? Where are the protests? And I mean, I'm not even complaining about the American people here, because you need someone to lead you in a protest. You know, the civil rights movement needed, they needed the Reverend Martin Luther King. They needed him. They needed him, right? They needed a figurehead to get behind. There is no figurehead to get behind in America right now. There just isn't on the left. Or centre-right, I guess. This is a huge problem, you know? Not only that, is the GOP have an absolutely vast war chest for fighting these midterms, right? Not just fighting them in the voting booths, but fighting them in the courts, which is where Trump's going to win. They have $120 million at least. And Trump can ask for more. He can just ask his very wealthy Republican donors for some more money and they'll give it to him because they want him to stay in power till the day he dies. Billionaires, corporate interests, they're all funding Trump. Meanwhile, here's a fun stat for you. The Democrats are in debt. The Debtocrats, see what I did there? They're in debt by $2 million. You see, because being left-wing, as I can tell you running this channel, it's not any way to make money. Where if you're right-wing, you will be absolutely sitting pretty. Absolutely sitting pretty. Part of the car-centric and suburban culture that makes it difficult to assemble and have protests or do community building. It's really brilliant in its malevolence. Yeah, Farsight, you're right. The structure of America has been made so that people just can't unite very easily. And they can't. But I don't blame the American people for this particularly. I can see why people wouldn't want to die to go to a protest that's poorly attended, you know? You get a 1 million man march. Okay, cool. I'll go to that. That's worth it. But to go to outside your local state courthouse and stand there with a placard when ICE might shoot you in the head, kill your children in front of you, you know, they can get away with it if they do it. Have the people who shot Rene Good gone to jail yet? No? Funny that. It's really grim. That's true. That's bad optics, stroke PR for sure. That means taking meaningful stances on issues and following through, not just trying to appeal to the least common denominators. Well, I don't know, Farsight. I think your lowest common denominator might be a different group to the lowest common denominator. I mean, Trump already appeals to them as far as I'm concerned. They're not the people that you need to get on side. You need to get the people who aren't happy with Trump but are scared, genuinely scared. They're more scared of the Democrats being in charge and them having a black president who wears a tan suit. They're more scared of that than the prospect of another 18 years of Trump being in charge. You know. Talking of of that. You know, Trump is so running in 2028. There's people going, no, he can't. The Constitution won't let him. And I'm just looking at him going, the Constitution says you can't just go around shooting fucking Americans in the street, you know, because they look at you funny. He's got away with it. The Supreme Court, the Constitution says you can't send a mob to go and smash up their Parliament building. He fucking did, though, didn't he? Supreme Court says that you can't, steal documents, top secret documents, and keep them in a toilet in Mar-a-Lago and sell them to the highest bidder, resulting in the deaths of 150 secret agents working around the world for the American state. He shouldn't do that. He fucking did, though, didn't he? Got away with it. But yeah, the billionaires and the corporate interests. That's all you need to know. Why did I say Trump was going to win back in 2024, and I kept getting shouted down on the Friday night socials? Graham, stop saying that! Stop it! I can't even hear this. You know, Scott will put his fingers in his ears and go, la, 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 la. I'm not listening to this. And I'm like, this is what's going to happen. Why? Why was I fairly confident that Trump was going to win? Because of the corporate interest and the billionaire donors. The Democrats are carrying debt. They're fighting expensive fucking primaries. They're fighting primaries, instead of coalescing around one particular fucking person to run, they're fighting primaries. It costs a fucking fortune. Why? Just get one fucking candidate. It's fine. You don't need to run all this shit. Look, I know you love democracy so much that you want to fuck it to death, but can you just calm down a bit? Just okay, let's just get a candidate who the local party can just agree on. We'll have a meeting. We'll have a show of hands, and then that's our candidate. Thank you. Doesn't cost us fucking millions. You haven't got the money. Democrats, what are you doing? These expensive fucking primaries, between a young leader who might be a bit more progressive and an old fucking dinosaur who should have retired 20 years ago. The Republican messaging is centralized and relentless. It does not stop. They own newspapers. They own the airwaves. They own blogs and podcasts and everything that they need to own to get their message out. Democratic messaging is fragmented, defensive, and seems to revolve around this idea that Trump is finished. He's finished, he is. God, look at how finished he is. I made another video about how he's finished. Look, he walked funny. Oh, this is over for Trump. Why? He stumbled. He was going up the stairs and he stumbled. That's it. It's over. He hasn't been seen for 2 days. He's dead. He's definitely... Let's do a video about how he's definitely dead. Just like, oh, for fuck's sake. It's getting exhausting. And I understand why they do it, because there's money in it, and there's no money in telling the truth. But this is the fucking truth. The Republicans are going to just walk these midterms. No matter what the Democrats do now, they're fucked. It's not Trump whose goose is cooked. It's Democrats. And it will continue until Trump is no longer with us. And then maybe, yeah, at some future point, we can go back to business as usual. But not right now. You know. Constitutional objections to Trump running again only matter when institutions are willing to enforce them. What institutions have stood up against Trump? The Centers for Disease Control put on their website some conspiracy shite about vaccines causing autism the other day. Do you know that? On their fucking website of the CDC, they put that. So supine. You know, so just laying down and taking it. No fight in them. What's the point? You're going to lose. And I don't want to be defeatist in this, because I think there is a way to stop this. It's just not the way that the Democrats are going about it. And the Democrats are doing pretty much everything they can do wrong at the moment. And it's not as though they haven't been shown the way. Mondami's done really, really well in New York. He's doing great. He's still really popular after winning the election. The Democrats didn't want him. They didn't want him to run, you know. But he did, and he won. You know, but Trump's party, the GOP, the Republicans, and his donors, the Supreme Court have repeatedly accommodated his demand, no matter how fucking insane. The Supreme Court said, oh, you can't have these tariffs. So they went, okay. And the Supreme Court said, listen, the reason why we're saying you can't have these tariffs is because of the law that you're using to put these tariffs in place. Okay. Now, if you're to use this other law, which maybe you were hitherto unaware of, you could probably get away with it. Ooh, what's that law? Well, it's about not buying things from countries that don't have a slavery policy. Oh, that's sort of slightly ironic, considering America was built on the backs of slaves, arguably more so than any other country in the fucking world. But yeah, it's born on the backs of slaves, and today modern slavery still goes on in the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are in jail in America, who are forced to work for nothing. So yeah, the mistake that is still being made and was being made 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, the system will automatically stop him. The cavalry will come over the fucking hill with the copy of the Constitution, and it will be unimpeachable. You go back to Trump being impeached. What was the fucking point of that? What was the point of the way that the impeachment thing works in America? It's fairly easy to impeach someone in America. It just means they're like investigated by the Congress. So Congress is made of two things. It's made up of the House of Representatives, the lower house, and the Senate, the upper house, right? Same way we've got the House of Commons and the House of Lords in the UK. I mean, it's a bit of a different setup, but relatively speaking, that's how it goes down. So you decide that you want to impeach a president. And then what you can do is you can spend months and months and months, even years, billions of dollars maybe, on investigating the president to decide whether he actually did this horrible thing, right? And in the case of the Democrats, they brought a case against what Trump did on January the 6th. And they waited all this time after he lost the election in 2020, tried to, had his stormtroopers storm Parliament, who have all been let off now, despite the fact that 9 people died as a direct result of that. It cost it cost over $3 million of damage. They caused over $3 million of damage, and they injured 150 police officers. But let them off. Let them off. It's fine. So the way it works is you have a case, then you put the case together, and then the people in the lower house, they say, right, we've got all this evidence, right? We've got all this evidence. We think he's guilty. He's definitely done this thing. And they go, okay, right, we think he's definitely guilty. And then they hand over all this to the Senate, right? And they get to decide whether the president is actually guilty of committing crimes, right? High crimes and misdemeanors, or whatever you want to call it, right? And the way they do that isn't a simple majority. It's a super majority. It's actually 60. It's not 66. 60 of the 100 senators have to vote. Who made the Democrats think they were going to get those fucking votes? A free and fair trial, a jury trial, would find Trump guilty a million times over. But you think his own people, his party? It's like putting together a jury, but it's your mates. You know, no, he's all right, Graham. He didn't really murder all those people. You know, crazed fucking, you know, weird duck hunting exercise that went horribly, horribly wrong. He didn't really do that. You know, he's all right. I like him. Not guilty. Even though all the evidence says that fucking did it, you know? No, it's German. It says the Bart, the. No one who speaks German could be a bad man. I'm almost more afraid of whatever Republican comes after Trump than of Trump himself, given how old he is now. Except at the moment, it's hard to be more afraid of anyone. Trump could start a war with the EU tomorrow. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like... The problem is, as well, is you've got a lot of thickies running the world. Thicky dum-dums running the world at the moment. And you look at something like the makers of stuff, right? So the makers of games consoles and laptops and mobile phones. And like, all the prices of all electronic products are going up. They're going through the roof because of the demand for RAM. And that's all being made. There's only a few places in the world that make RAM, and it's all going to AI. They're making it in bulk for AI, and they don't have the time, the capacity to make it for consumer products, and that's why all these consumer products have gone up in price. And you think that's fucking stupid. If your company is reliant, if Sony is reliant on selling PlayStations, putting the price up $100 in America, that's going to fuck them because people aren't going to be able to afford them. But it would be bad enough if it was some other company doing this, but they're doing it to themselves. These tech companies are doing it to themselves. Microsoft Xbox, the price of it's gone up because the memory inside's gone up in price. The graphics card's gone up in price because of AI. And what's Microsoft investing in? Fucking AI. These people aren't that smart. You know, when companies do really fucking well, 9 times out of 10, it's because they got fucking lucky. They just happen to find a niche in the market, although Americans could pronounce it niche because they're idiots. But, you know, they find a niche in the market and then they do really, really well. But then events, my dear, you know, events come along and they fuck it all. Looks like Cuba is next. Yeah. If Merrick Garland got his finger out and acted against Trump sooner, he'd be in prison now instead of the White House. Yeah, War and Peace. I couldn't agree more. He should have just gone to court. He should have been arrested down in Mar-a-Lago, put in a holding cell, and then all of those cases should have been brought to a court of law for, you know, insurrection, for stealing government information, for trying to rig the election in Georgia, ask for 11,870 more votes. Also, the fake elector scheme, where they're going to send fake electors to Washington. They're going to do that again in these midterms. You know, they're going to send someone to Washington and say, "Oh, this is the person who won," even if they're the person who lost. Yeah. I love that expression. Even my 83-year-old mum uses that now. Which expression is that? Yeah, Trump could start a war with himself. Yeah. I'm almost afraid of what Republican comes after Trump than of Trump himself, given how old he is now. I'm not. I'm honestly not fussed about who comes after him. He's just got to go. He's got to go. And I say that because none of the people under him are competent or charismatic. I'll say that about, you know, the vice president, J.D. Vance, who might well become the president in the next 4, 5, 6 years because Trump will die at some point because he's old and he's unhealthy. And then who takes over? The vice president. But let's look at how Trump's going to stay on in 2028, right? Is how he's going to do it, right? There's so many ways. He can run on a ticket with J.D. Vance, where J.D. Vance is the top of the ticket and Trump is the vice president. As soon as he gets in, because he hasn't actually run for president again, this would have to be tested. Where does it get tested? In the Supreme Court. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to go, no, that's legal. That's constitutional. Yeah. So J.D. Vance gets in as president and then he resigns immediately. Trump is president again. And then Trump makes J.D. Vance his vice president. On the outside chance that doesn't happen for some reason, right? Then what you do is whoever gets in for the Republicans, make it known that Trump is supporting them, get all the money behind them from the oligarchs. That's what matters. It's not about Trump's popularity. It's about the oligarchs and the money, tech bros and the billionaires, the crypto bros. Then we're going to go into Team Trump, whoever's standing. So say it's J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. They win the presidency and the vice presidency. And then what the Democrat Party do, what the Republican Party do, is they make Trump the chair. They vote to make the chair because it's their votes. They've got the majority in the House of Representatives, which they will. They'll make Trump the Speaker of the House. They'll vote to make him Speaker of the House. Of course, he'll have to win a seat. That'll be easy. He'll just run in 2028. If you ever run as president, it doesn't stop you running for any other office. He'll just run as a representative for a very, very deep Trump voting place in America, right? Part of a state that really votes for Trump. He'll run there. They'll fucking love it. Oh, he's going to represent us. He'll get in as a member of the House of Representatives, and then the majority party, which will be the Republicans, vote for who they want to be the Speaker. He becomes the Speaker. Who's next in the line of succession after the President and the Vice President? The Speaker of the House of Representatives. Cool. Okay, so then you got Marco Rubio as Vice President, and you've got J.D. Vance. They just resign. And then who becomes President? Donald Trump. Fake electors. He can just do the fake electors thing again. Even if he doesn't win the election. He stands and he doesn't win. He will win. Of course he will. And he's in control of everything until, January the 20th, when he's actually supposed to step down. He's still in charge of everything. There's no way out. There is no way out for the Democrats right here, using the usual mechanics. I keep quoting that quote. I keep using that quote from The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp to say, this isn't a cricket match. There's going to be no rematch next year, We've got to get down in the mud and fight dirty against these motherfuckers. And the Democrats need to do that, but they're not prepared to do it. And they've shown they're not prepared to do this over the last 10 years. I don't know what the answer is here, right? But we in Britain have got to stop trying to think, America's only going to be like this for so long and then it'll be all back to normal. It won't be. It'll never be back to normal in our lifetimes after this, right? So we've got to think about planning for Trumpism lasting well beyond 2028. And Washington, being an unreliable partner when we talk about NATO, when we talk about trade, when we talk about intelligence cooperation, when we talk about Ukraine, any of that stuff. And we need to resist pressure to follow America into fucking daft military adventures around the world. And we need to fight back against Trump supporting nationalist and far-right movements abroad. And you know what? We can do that. I mean, we've had a bit of the wind knocked out of ourselves by the stupid Brexit that we voted for stupidly. We voted for that stupidly. We're like, but yeah, we voted to decrease our soft power around the world. But Britain is very good at country whispering. Okay, there are a lot of countries around the world. I'm not bigging up Britain. Okay, this is just the way it is. Okay, a lot of countries around the world are happy to listen to some wise words coming from the ambassador from the UK in their particular country, or go to the embassy, have a chat about things. Britain does have that influence, and we just need to be really, really smart about it. Work out how we use that influence, how we use that soft power to get people on side, to not vote for the fash, because Trump is part of a worldwide movement to install fascist governments all over the world. And unfortunately for us, America does not seem to be willing or capable of standing up to him. After all their bluster, all the shit they've fed us for fucking years, decades, centuries about America being fucking number one, and it protects the little guy and it stands up for people, and the hero always wins in the Hollywood movies and the baddie always gets his ass handed to him. The reality is not that. The reality is America is an incredibly supine country, probably one of the worst in the world for just allowing things to happen. I know. At least in Britain, we do occasionally protest. You know, the poll tax was ended because there were riots in Kent. In Kent, of all fucking places, riots in Kent. British people get pissed off enough. Things can change. Things can happen. Thatcher, who won three fucking elections in a row. She won the Falklands War. She allowed all the boomers to buy their houses for £2.50. She's now worth $500,000 each. Brilliant. Well done to her. And she still got booted out because the people rose up and said, we're not paying this fucking poll tax. The last lad who tried to fucking bring in kind of a poll tax, the ship tax, who was that? Oh, Charles I. What did we do to him? Anyone remember? History class. What did we do to Charlie 1? Oh, yes. He went a bit mad, didn't he? Some might say he lost his head. But yeah, I don't want to do a point scoring thing about, you know, America versus the UK, but I am saddened. I don't want to say surprised. I think that's the wrong word. I am saddened by the lack of opposition to Trump, and saddened that America just doesn't seem to have any great thinkers on the left or even on the centre right who can get one step ahead of the Trump machine. And it should, I mean, watching from the sidelines, sniping from the sidelines, watching the show like the Muppets, watch like Statler and Waldorf in the Muppet Show. You know, it's easy for us to pass judgment and pass comment. And I understand that there are difficulties in anything you want to do in America. It's a big fucking country. It's made up of 50 little countries. You know, it's like, it's insane. Like, it is a crazy big place, but it is incredibly powerful. And we have to acknowledge that, you know? But we cannot base our foreign policy going forward on the assumption that normal US politics will return soon or even in our lifetimes. This is it. It's over. And I know that they're not going to stop doing it because it gets clicks. But I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and just be like, oh, it's all fucked. It doesn't have to be fucked. It's just that the way that the opposition to Trump is going about things obviously isn't working. I'm not saying that I have all the solutions and I have all the answers. I can say, you know, in that case, this is what I would have done. I would have seen that field was fucking empty at the States Fair thing at the 250 celebrations for America. I would have been all over that like a fucking rash. Do you know what I mean? I would have, if I had the power, if I had the money, if I could get thousands of people to turn up, I would have used that as an opportunity to get my anti-Trump message out. And I would have posters of Renee Good everywhere. Trump killed this woman. Are you next? Trump killed this American citizen. Are you next? Are your children next? Who's next? Put the fear of God in them. Because it's the only thing people respond to at the end of the day. People can get used to the most, you know, horrific of circumstances. Take Andrew Tate, for instance. He hasn't complained about his prison for a week or so. He must be getting used to sleeping in his own feculence. I'm starting to low-key stan France in the 20th centuries and onwards. They seem to be the only country that constantly call the US as shit. Well, Spain has called, I mean, not consistently, but Spain at the moment is calling out America's shit. The World War II post-war tax regime has gone another Thatcher move. Yeah. Steve Minchin was involved in the trafficking of models through various model agencies. Steve Munchin. America does not mind authoritarianism if it's fascist. They were too afraid of communism. That's true. That's true. They're more afraid of communism than fascism in America. That's always been the case, though. New Zealand general protested South Africa in 1949 because they didn't want to play against the Maori. Wow. The US oligarchs have wanted fascism, stroke a more entrenched oligarchy. The rich in the US are openly saying that they don't even like democracy these days. Yeah. Well, democracy is not going to come back to America for a while now, if it ever does. I mean, I think America's over. I think America's just living on borrowed time. It's a dead country walking. I could see America breaking apart before the Republicans give up power, which is sad, because in 2021 there was an opportunity for the Democrats to wipe out the Republicans for a generation, and they chose not to take it. They chose business as usual. They're fucking idiots. So yeah, that's all I want to say this morning. I just want to say, all the things that should have been the end of Trump have not been the end of Trump. His approval rating is 37%. Only 1/3 of Americans support his war with Iran. Sorry, 69% say he's failed to explain what the war is supposed to achieve, and that includes 40% of Republican voters. 18 American service personnel have been killed in the conflict. Independent voters currently favour Democrats over Republicans in both Congress and the economy. This should be a cakewalk for the Democrats, these midterms, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Democrats have somehow managed to, snatched, as I say at the title of this video on the thumbnail, they've snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. And they've done that because they have not turned all these things that have happened into a coherent national campaign to stick one to Trump. And we can coo over all of the opinion polls we like, but the only poll that really matters is the poll of the billionaires who they want to be in charge, especially now that they're running the justice system through Trump. One of the things that the billionaires wanted to trump him for was to drop all of the cases that were being brought from the IRS, the Inland Revenue Service in America, drop all these cases against all these big companies, all being investigated by the IRS. He wanted to stop any kind of monopolies and mergers commission, what do they call it over there, competition law or something, the antitrust. They wanted to get rid of any antitrust prosecutions that were going on in America, just make Omnicorp. King Charles diplomatically put Trump back in his box twice by opening the parliament, reminding him he is head of state, not Trump, then giving that speech in Congress. Yeah, but I mean, Gareth, I think he did really well. I think we've got to look out for ourselves in this respect and do what needs to be done. And if that means telling Trump that we're going to drill in the North Sea, fine, fucking tell him that. You don't have to actually do it. This is what I don't understand. Like, the nuclear threat, right? You don't have to actually do it, do you? Just to say you've got it. That's what the Russians are doing. They don't have fucking nuclear weapons. They just say that they do. So everyone's like scared of them. Although we can't go to war against the Russians. Why not? Oh, they got nuclear weapons. So fine, just say you're going to drill for fucking oil, then just don't do it. Just keep pushing it back, keep kicking it into the long grass. You don't actually have to do it. We need a bit more sneakiness on the left and a little less virtue signaling, which I don't think is a good thing, especially when we've got to have, I hate to say it, but we're in a world at the moment where we need to be ruthlessly pragmatic and work out, where to pick our fights. Otherwise we're not going to get fucking anywhere. I often think about it's no good fighting for animal rights in somewhere like China where there's fuck all in the way of human rights, eh? Labour beat fucking Manchester. They handed them the fucking sandwiches, didn't they? That was amazing. That was 66% in the second round to 33%, less than 33%. Absolutely mullered them. Which could happen all over the country if we had second place voting, rank voting. Oh, got some news on that, by the way. It looks like Burnham is going to put a royal commission into votes, changing the voting system. So, like I keep saying, it's not going to happen before the next election, next general election, but it will. It will happen, and it'll be on it will be in the Labour Party manifesto, as will ever closer ties with the EU. So, realistically, if we just had Burnham turn around this week, you could do this tomorrow and say, listen, we've had a look at this guidance about people using the fucking bathrooms, and it's a load of bollocks. And here's why. And actually take a moment to explain to people why it's such a bad move. You know. There won't be a civil war in the US, says Rosie. I do not think there will be a civil war in the US, and if there is, you can clip this of me saying this at 12:05 on this Sunday morning, Sunday the 2nd of August 2026. If there is a civil war in the United States, I'll eat my fucking hat. They're all too fine with what they've got. You know, poverty in America is like crazy fucking poverty. So many people who are homeless, so many people who live in a fucking swamp, a shack in the middle of a swamp, you know. And yet. Anyway, listen, I'm going to get going. Shame we didn't get any super chats. I blame the lack of the goal. I don't know why the goal didn't fucking work. I don't know why it's not coming up. But that's a bit of a shame. But, you know, it's fine. I can work for free. I don't need money. Money's overrated. But yeah, it's not letting me. It's not letting me do this. Where have YouTube? I'm a bit worried now because have I been demonetized or something? Where have YouTube goals gone? Gift goals. Is there a problem with YouTube right now? No outages. On my YouTube channel. Why have the YouTube goals gone from my YouTube channel? Layout. What? YouTube has removed the custom creator goals feature from the YouTube studio, ending the experimental tool that allowed creators to set subscriber or view milestones directly on their dashboard. Okay. No, that's not the same thing. No. Oh God, I hate bloody AI. No, I mean, what do you call it? Super chat goals on live streams. They have disappeared. Am I being Oh, there you go. Oh, thank you, Viper Scott. That was worth hanging on for. I got £2. Yeah, thank you very much, Viper Scott, for that. Where to find the supers toggle, and it's your super chat didn't accidentally get turned off. No, supers are still on. Obviously, by the fact that Viper Scott's put that thing in there. Live control room. Go to the live chat. Oh God, they've changed it. Right, live chat, and then there's a bullseye thing. What is happening here? They changed this with the default key. No, can't see it. Can't see it anywhere. Looks like they've got rid or something. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So yeah. Yeah. If we can get Burnham on side with sticking one to transphobia, then I think we've got quite a half decent future to look forward to. Half decent. Don't get too carried away. So I am optimistic about some things, but Trump not being president of the United States anytime soon is not one of them. Oh wow! Thank you very much for the super chats that have come in. Thank you so much. Despite there being no goal anymore, Saz has dropped £5 in, and Gareth T £2 super chat. It was my wife's birthday yesterday. Oh, happy birthday to Gareth T's wife. And Rosie giving some love hearts there. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. And because you've all been so wonderfully generous, I will get out the bin Feffy. It's time to take out the bin Feffy. I don't know if that works, but here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bin Beppy! Woo! Woo! Count bin face. Count bin face in the house. Bin face, bin face, bin face in the house. Woo! Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for the super chats there. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow morning. There's going to be no Sunday night social tonight. I'm sorry. I was going to try and do a Saturday night social last night. Have you seen that Red Dwarf where they're like, we got to go up to red alert, and he's like, that does mean changing a light bulb, so it's a bit like that. If I change things, I have to change the intros, and I have to change the I was like, oh, fuck. I was knackered. Right, it's the end of the show. A little bit of story time. So I went to Kendall Calling on Friday, and I was invited along by one of my mates who was playing there, and I turn up, and I was supposed to be going with the family, but that fell through a bit, so I ended up just going on my own, right? So I turn up, and I did my show in the morning, packed all my stuff together. And by the time I actually got there, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. And I was put into the car park. And I didn't know this at the time, but my car was parked 40 minutes walk from the actual venue, from the arena, right? And so I've only got my little backpack on, and I've got me coat in it because it was a bit hot, so my coat was in my backpack, and I had like a fold out chair because I thought I'll just sit there, whatever. And so I'm walking, and 40 minutes later I'm finally in the site, right? And I had no signal on my mobile phone. Like, mobile phone signal was utterly shite there, right? So, and then my phone goes ping. Fucking left the car unlocked, haven't I? Thanks to my car for grassing on me to my girlfriend. Graham, you've left the car unlocked. Motherfucker. So God, shit. And I try and find me mates, but I can't because I can't get proper signal. So I'm like, fuck it, because I was going to leave my bag with them and me chair and everything. Oh, fuck it, I'll walk back. So I'm walking back 40 fucking minutes walk. 40, and it's up and down, and it's like a gravel track, not nice gravel like you would have it like outside the stately home, but like hard gravel, big stones and stuff, really dusty. Walking along this fucking dust track. It's going up and down like this. Fucking, it's dead hot as well. Absolutely now I'm sweating. I was like, oh my god, I'm get a blister on my right foot. My left leg is fucking killing me. Get back to the car. Finally found the car. Fucking throw the chair in it. Fuck it. Whatever. And then I walk back another 40 minutes. And by then, on that walk back, my legs were killing me. I was like, fucking, I wasn't prepared for this. Didn't quite realise I'd have to walk several kilometres to get into the site. And I got in, and do you know what? When I got in, it was fucking brilliant. It was really good, really fun. Saw Ash doing this secret gig. Got to meet Tim Burgess, have a chat with him from the Charlatans. Then I went and met a mate of mine. We went to watch the Sister Sisters, who were fucking fantastic. They should have been the headliners. Two Doors Cinema Club were the headliners. Okay, I mean, having them as the preamble to the Sisters put on a show. They put on a motherfucking show. It was great. And then went to watch Ash, and I went to watch Two Door Cinema Club. I wasn't drinking. So I was on the zero alcohol cider, which was great. And then I had the coffee, and then I had to drive. I had to walk back to the car after this whole day of being on my feet with blisters and sore legs. I had to walk back to the car at like midnight. I was like, oh man, I was like the only one because I was leaving on the Friday. Everyone else was staying for the weekend. And I got back to the car, and then I had to drive back to Durham. 2 hours drive back to Durham. And that's why I didn't do a show on Saturday morning. And that's kind of why I didn't do a show on Saturday evening either. I was like, I know I'm going to be sitting down, but my legs are still knackered. So yeah, I think my next investment for a festival is going to be a pop-up golf cart. Do they sell them? Can you just like get a pop-up golf cart? Going on the track. Yeah, in the US, people are probably too afraid to be going homeless or going to prison if they protest too loudly. Land of the free, indeed. Yeah, it's not the land of the free, is it? The land of the very much put upon. Anyway, not to mention losing the healthcare. Yeah. Sarah says, okay, that makes sense. So I was like, "Are you doing a show today?" I'm like, "Nah, my legs are knackered." She's like, "What?" But yeah, so I can't do a show tonight. I've got a friend's anniversary that I need to attend. So I might do a Monday night social or something this week. I don't know. But do me a favor before you go. If you haven't given this video a like, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel, if you're watching this on catch up, please subscribe. And if you could hit the bell notification icon, and then you'll know when I'm going to go live, because it might be, like I say, it's the summer. I don't know what the kids are doing. Don't know what the family's doing. You know, there's all things going on all at once, and I'm not necessarily going to be here every single day like I am in term time. So, so yeah, if you would be so kind as to hit the bell notification icon, it will let you know when I'm going to go live. And I don't take the piss with it. Do you know what I mean? I won't put something up that's not going to happen for 3 weeks. It will be on the day. It will be a few hours before, or even a few minutes before. I don't know. Yeah, if I don't see you later this evening, which I don't think I will, I'll definitely be back tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 o'clock for the morning brew. And until then, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Saz and Gareth and Rosie and to Alistair for the super chats there. Really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And until we meet again, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.